Hello, everyone. This is Bunny Says, and we're back for another exciting episode of Cinderella Phenomenon. Let's continue where we left off. It's evening out today, and for me, it's nice and quiet, so we should have a good time. It's still extremely warm out, but excuse me. We should have it should be relatively quiet. So now, what I remember last was that Lucette had Dolora change into a doll form and was hanging around with Lucette in her apron. And they went back to the palace, and they're here in the palace now. And Lucette is being Emmeline's maid, her lady in waiting, basically. So she has oh, that's right, Lucette. Lucette was wondering how she could get her a good deed, and Rod said that maybe if she was nice to Emmeline, maybe if she made Emmeline happy. Because Emmeline seems to be sort of unhappy, so possibly, Rod said possibly that way. So that was about right. So okay, so let's start from here, and the very last thing, they were in her room and they were talking about it. Okay, so Lucette came down to the palace, the dining hall. Need a little sip of something here. Excuse me. Okay, so we're in the dining hall, and it says, Dolora decides to stay in my room for the time being, saying that she believes Rod will be able to help me for now. Later, I make my way to the dining room with the fabrics, and see Emmeline and Ophelia inside. Here's Emmeline. Lucette. And Ophelia. I see you have the fabric. Thank you. Ophelia takes the topmost sample of fabric and begins to inspect it as Emmeline walks up to me. Where's Rod? Lucette. He returned to his studies. Oh, right. He has history lessons today, and I am yet to finish my history homework, which is due tomorrow. As Emily muses aloud, I ponder what Rod told me earlier. I must become Emmeline's friend. But is that really a good deed? Emmeline. I hope Rod didn't send the servants out before he went back to his room. I wanted to tell him that Viorica and I had already called on gods to bring the boxes inside. Ophelia. Maybe he decided to start his lessons earlier so that he could make your dance lesson this evening. That's right. Emmeline's having a ball that she didn't really necessarily want to go to. And the intention of the ball is for her to choose a husband. Or to see prospective suitors, basically. Lucette, dance lesson? Father wanted to hire the best dance instructor in Engel, but I honestly feel more comfortable with Rod teaching me. He's a good dancer, so Father has allowed it. Lucette. That's a surprise. I did not know Rod could dance. Ophelia. He used to prefer singing, but then... He sings too? Oh, okay. Ophelia trails off. I know that she is talking about the fairy tale caress, but I do not expect her to divulge such information to a maid like myself. Ophelia. He's decided to focus on his dancing for the past few months. Now, we know that Rod has a caress where he has something about his voice where he can't speak. And I believe his bunny actually speaks for him. So, I don't think people know, but it's actually the bunny speaking. The bunny on the shoulder. Otherwise, I don't think he can say anything. But we'll learn more as we go along, I guess. So, okay. Ophelia glances down at the fabrics, then looks up and smiles at me. Ophelia. Lucette, would you mind helping me with this? I obediently walk over to the fabrics Ophelia wants me to look through. They are apparently samples for the tablecloth that will be used during the ball. This is going to be a long day. Just makes me laugh that she's a maid now that, and she never, really, until she went to the Marchen, she really never worked before, so. Rod, okay, we're in the palace room, the throne room. Rod comes immediately to the throne room after his history lessons to start on his dance lessons with Emmeline. I am only standing here because it is my responsibility as her personal maid to watch over her as she practices. I watch as she steps out of rhythm, and Rod sighs at her. Rod, you're doing it wrong. That's the 10th time. Sorry. Again. They start from the beginning, and I am unable to stifle my own sigh when Emily messes up the same step again. This would make the 11th time. Emmeline, I really am terrible at this. Rod, would you rather have the royal dance instructor teach you? He has more experience teaching than I do. Oh no, I really do want you to teach me, Rod. I'm sorry that I'm such a slow learner. You were always good at everything. Singing, dancing, cooking. Lucette. Prince Rod cooks? Emmeline. Yes, Rod does cook. He's very good at it. Rod. You didn't have to tell her that, Em. Does it really matter? I love bragging about how talented my little brother is. I see a tinge of pink in Rod's cheeks as he turns away. Is he embarrassed? Emmeline looks down at the floor, her smile smaller. I wish I was as talented as you, Rod. I had always thought Emmeline was overly optimistic. She always seemed to bounce back with a smile, no matter how many times I pushed her away. Now I cannot help but reconsider that thought. Still, seeing her like this only irritates me. Really. Pitying yourself will get you nowhere. That's Lucette. Not everyone can be perfect at everything when they first start out. Emmeline looks shocked. Lucette, I remember when Mother gave me similar lessons. She was always such a harsh teacher, and she hated when I showed weakness in front of her. She made me keep practicing until I had perfected whatever it was she wanted me to do. Failure was never an option. I never had time for self-pity. Instead of feeling sorry for yourself, just try harder. Let failure inspire you to do better. Rod. Lucette, that was... Emily. She's right, Rod. Instead of complaining, I should be working harder. I let out an exasperated sigh and crossed my arms. You always look at your feet whenever you reach the underarm turn. Instead, focus on counting your steps and let Prince Rod lead you. Worrying too much on your next step is what puts you off rhythm. Emmeline stares at me. Can you dance, Lucette? I can. Why? Emmeline, wow, that's amazing. There's nothing amazing about my being able to dance. Her praise makes me embarrassed regardless. Maybe I could learn faster seeing someone else do the dance first. It's actually not a bad idea. Sometimes, if you could see from the outside, you can tell where you're making wrong turns and stuff like that. So, Rod speaking now. What are you talking about? It might be easier to copy the steps if I can have someone perform them first. She turns to me suddenly, eyes bright. Would you help me? I am meant to assist Emmeline in any way that I can, but dancing with her brother? Surely the lowly maid should not be doing this. Okay, we have a choice here. Either accept or refuse. I guess we'll accept. I mean, she's right seeing it, and she's there to help her. So, yeah. I mean, how could she really can't refuse? And plus, we get to know Rod better. So, I honestly want to see if Rod could actually dance very well. So, I want to see this. So, okay. So we'll accept. Well, if I do accept, at least I can prove that I am the better dancer than Rod. Oh, really? Is she? Okay. Let's see this. Besides, I am supposed to be listening to Emily no matter how absurd her requests are. She's also not supposed to, talk to her and tell her off like that, like she just did. That's what Rod was going to say. She really has no right to, start criticizing Emmeline. Okay, Lucette. If that is what you want. Really? Emmeline rushes up to me and takes my hand in hers. Thank you, Lucette. I thought it might be an awkward request, but I'm so happy you've agreed to do this. Agreed to this. I turn to look at Rod, who is glowering at me. I am not dancing with her. She might step on my feet. Emmeline gives him a disapproving look. Rod, please. Rod eyes me warily. I step toward him and offer my hand. Shall we? Rod scowls at me for a few moments before finally taking my hand. Oh, they're dancing and showing a picture of them actually dancing together. I put my hand on his shoulder and he places his hand on the small of my back. Rod looks at me, but quickly averts his gaze. Is something wrong? That's Lucette. Rod, I didn't think I would ever have to dance with you is all. Neither did I. Rod looks at me again. This time he has an uncomfortable scowl on his face. He is not the only uncomfortable one here. We both start dancing, and I mentally start counting the steps. It has been a long time since I last danced with anyone, but the steps come to me naturally. The dance is rather simple. While Rod and I move stiffly, I cannot help but notice his careful footwork. I realize that Rod really is a pretty decent dancer. Of course, I would never openly admit that. When we stop, I hear Emmeline clapping her hand as she looks at the both of us in awe. You really are a good dancer. Thank you so much for showing me the steps. Now I know for sure what to do during that part. I just shrugged at her before stepping back into the corner. Emmeline takes her position in front of Rod once more. This time, she has a bright smile on her face. I cannot believe something as simple as that has made her so happy. At the end of the day, Emmeline has managed to do the steps correctly. She tells me many times how grateful she is for the help. After practice, I return to my room and retire to bed. I think about how happy Emmeline was. How could such small things make a person so happy? Well, here's a flashback of young Lucette and her mother. You know, I really like the style of these flashbacks. They're sort of black and white, sort of black and tan color, and they're drawn on a sort of stencil sort of sketch. I really like them. Mother, you stepped out of rhythm again, Lucette. Young Lucette. But Mother, this is really hard. A princess never complains. You must perfect this waltz by tomorrow. Otherwise I will not allow you to play with your dolls for the day. But if you have time for objections, you have time to push yourself harder. Now once again from the top. That's rather sad, actually. Okay, we're back in the palace hallways. Looks like it's late or nighttime. The following days are uneventful. Emmeline continues her dance lessons with Rod. Her steps are still far from perfect, but I can tell that she has improved since my demonstration with Rod. Meanwhile, Rod still chooses to ignore me most of the time, though I have noticed that he is less cold than usual. At least he does not snap at me for no good reason anymore. Though Delora is no longer assisting me, she insists on staying in my room more often. Wonder what that's about. She says that there is something important she wants to investigate, and I cannot even guess what it might be. I prefer not having her around anyway. Her constant chattering makes it difficult to focus on anything. Right now, I am still trying to figure out how I can achieve my first good deed. Almost 3 months have passed since I was first cursed, but I have yet to complete my first good deed. Wow, 3 months? Okay, so I guess apparently a good amount of time has passed. Excuse me while I have a drink. These are my thoughts as I head back to my sleeping quarters after dinner that night. Emmeline excused me long ago, insisting that I go on to my own room before she went to hers. I am walking down the hallway when I notice Rod heading down a familiar path. I follow after him. Are you going to the Marchen? There's Rod. Rod jumps and turns around. The surprise in his face quickly fades into annoyance. Don't do that again. And no, not today. Since I came here, I found out that Rod occasionally sneaks out of the palace at night through the secret passageway to go to the Mashen. Even now I am still confused as to why he goes there. He said before that he had given up on breaking his curse, which makes me wonder why he still visits. Well, maybe he just wants to see people and, people like himself. It also makes me wonder why he would refuse to break his curse in the first place. Is he okay being the way that he is? Or is his curse just really difficult to break? Why were you cursed, Rod? I'm not answering that question. Why? I cannot help you break your curse if you refuse to tell me anything. I told you before that I do not need your help. But I chose you as my partner. You help me, and I help you. It is highly likely that breaking Rod's curse will also count for a good deed. Rod scowls at me and crosses his arms. I'm afraid that this isn't how this works at all. The sound of footsteps keeps me from coming back with a retort. We both turn to see Sir Alcaster approaching us. Sir Alcaster. Prince Rod, good evening. Good evening, Sir Alcaster. Sir Alcaster turns to me and raises an eyebrow. Shouldn't you be attending to Princess Emmeline? Rod silences me with a look. He moves to stand in front of me, shielding me from Sir Alcaster's gaze. We were just about to go to her. Let's go, Lucette. Rod strides away, and I quickly curtsy to Sir Alcaster before following after Rod. I could still feel Sir Alcaster's eyes on my back as I walk away. I try my best to suppress a shudder. Rod and I walk through the hallway in silence. We both stop in our tracks when we hear the clattering of silverware. I look around and realize that the sound has come from behind a set of doors that is slightly open. Excuse me. The dining hall? Okay, now we hear Emmeline's voice. Oh no! That's Emmeline's voice. Okay, we're in the dining hall. We do not see Emmeline when we enter the room, but there is a dizzying array of cutlery set out on the table. Really? Okay. Rod. Emmeline? Emmeline surprises us both by crawling out from beneath the table. What? Okay. She flashes us an embarrassed smile as she gets to her feet, holding several forks and knives in her hands. What are you doing here? You should be getting ready for bed. That's Rod. Sorry. I eye the silverware on the table. I thought I could practice before I sleep today. He said, it has already been an incredibly long day for her, and she is still doing this? I watch as Emmeline puts the cutlery back onto the table in the wrong places. You need to rest, Em. I will, after I practice the placement one last time. She smiles at him before returning to the table. I don't know why a person would need so much cutlery. 1 fork, 1 spoon, and 1 knife should be more than enough for any meal. And all these glasses, if I recall correctly. This one is for water, This one is for red wine, and this one is for white wine. Okay. Yeah, we have a choice now. We could point out her mistake or give her the correct answers. Now, pointing out mistakes isn't... Personally, I don't think that's that's not a particularly good way to teach someone, but maybe giving her the answer... maybe she'll remember next time, so let's give her the correct answers. Yeah, because, well, yeah, I don't want to like chat. I don't want to like criticize her. Criticizing. I don't like that. So let's give her the correct answers. The flute is for champagne. The other is for sherry. Oh, right. But there are two more. The other is for juice, and the other glass is for dessert wine. The dessert wine glass will only be used during the dessert course. And the juice glass is only used when juice is being served as a course. Otherwise, it is placed next to the water goblet. Wow, okay, maybe she was right. That's a lot of glasses. That's 5 altogether. Emmeline, I see Rod staring at me out of the corner of his eyes. His lips twitch before he turns back to his sister. It looked like he was about to smile. Oh, good. I'm hoping that purple... I think the purple is the right choice, so that means when I was playing Karma and it was red, I think the color means, the purple color means right and red color means wrong. That means, I thought the fact that it showed up in the first place meant you did right. But, I don't know, it was showing up and it was red. When I think, I seem to remember that when I was playing Karma. So, I think that means I was picking the wrong answer all those times. Or a poor answer, I don't know. Well, whatever. He wasn't right for us, like I said, so... Emmeline. Then what are these for? Emmeline points out the group of forks in front of her. You use those every day, Your Highness. You should know the answer. Emmeline points at them as she rattles off names. Dinner fork, fish fork, salad. Correct. You know so much about etiquette, too. You're really incredible, Lucette. You make a better noblewoman than I do. Even if I told her I was a noble, it's not as if she would believe me. I just read a lot about all of these things. Yeah. You read and know enough to put them into practice? That's amazing. Especially since you haven't even been with us so long. Right, Rod? Rod shrugs. He does not, much to my surprise, disagree. Perhaps you should be my teacher, Lucette. I can learn so quickly from you. Emmeline quickly straightens out the cutlery. If Emmeline was I would say if she was a more suspicious person, I think she would be thinking something else. Or at least if I was, I might be like, why does this woman know all this stuff? And and she never even was here before, unless she was a maid at another palace or something like that. I'd be thinking something like that, or did she used to know something, or was she a noble or something? Okay. Now that I think about it, I have come to realize that Emmeline is much more than she appeared to be. It's probably because I am forced to spend so much time with her as her maid. She is different. She is flawed and not as conceited and more humble than I had originally thought. Maybe I should try lending her a hand. I may not be one of your tutors, but if you need help with your lessons, just ask me and I will do what I can for you. What, Lucette? I glanced at Rod, who was once again wearing that expression of surprise. I shift my attention to Emmeline once again. You only have 1 month left to prepare, and as your personal maid, I feel it my responsibility to help you in whatever ways I can. Sad. Emmeline wipes her eyes with the back of her hand, and that's when I notice something glistening on her cheeks. Is she crying? You're extremely kind, Lucette. Thank you. I will definitely take you up on that offer. I am still looking at Emmeline when I catch a faint glow coming from the pendant on my chest. What just happened? Oh, what a pretty necklace you have, Lucette. Thank you. Anyway, for now, I think the both of us would benefit from some sleep. So I think she just got her piece of her slipper necklace. So okay, I don't know if should I stop here or well, let's read a few more minutes and then we'll stop. After escorting Emmeline back to her room, I walk out into the hallway in a daze. What was that light? Rod, it seems like you actually managed to obtain your first good deed. I did not know he was still here. I look down at my pendant, astonished at what I see. Yeah, oh yeah, okay, yeah. She got her first piece, so a piece of the glass slipper. I gingerly touch the new piece that is hanging next to my existing glass slipper pendant. It is real. You're not too bad after all. Did he just compliment me? What? Rod turns away. Nothing. He walks away, leaving me alone with my thoughts. Okay, yeah, we're gonna stop here. Chapter 5, Secrets. Oh, okay, it looks like a flashback. Okay, yeah, we better stop here, and we'll start with this when we next return. So, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you'll come back and listen again. So, thank you for listening, and stay safe, and I'll say goodbye for now.